Yo, what is up, guys? What is poppin'? We are back with the ITL. We are in week 11 now. We're currently at 9-1, which guarantees us the number one spot in our conference, which means we have clinched the first round bye, and we are heading into the last 3 weeks of the season. This week we are playing T-Train and his Luster City Pokemon Club. He is like having a really solid season. He started 0-2, but then won 6 in a row, and he's at like 6-3 now, and like he hadn't didn't have his week 10 battle yet, but he's at either 7-3 or 6-4 right now as we play or will be soon. So that's pretty interesting. Definitely had like one of the better teams in the league, and he has a very threatening team. Because I've clinched the clinched the first round bye, I'm not like taking the last 3 weeks too serious, but I'm definitely want to win out, so I can't bring too many meme sets, but definitely bringing some fun. I got an Assault Vest Mammoth Swine here, Bulk Up, Resto Chester, Acrobatics, Superpower, Tornadus T, which like can potentially sweep his team once I get rid of a potential Rock Slide, Scolipede, and once I get rid of the Eviolizer on the Porygon. Besides that, there's not much that can stop this Tornadus potentially, so that's kind of cool. Obviously, depending on the Ladi set, I have to run Adamant to get certain Okos or Trid Chaos, so I can't outspeed a max speed Ladias, but I really don't expect him to bring max speed on Ladi because I feel he's more inclined to just speed creep my base 100 stuff. I don't think he would. He would like to speed tie with a Frostless. It doesn't give him anything at all. I feel because like Frostless can be abused by a Calmine Ladia setup for the potential. Frostless would be more of a Spike's lead versus him. I felt so. I figured he would run like enough speed for Timid Hydreigon or something like that. Tapu Fini has Carmine, Defog, Surf, and Moonblast. Also pretty threatening looking at my opponent's team, but obviously Scolipede is a big threat. my my opponent like could actually very well 6-0 me with Scolipede because like I don't have anything versus this thing. Venusaur can't even chew a +2 life orb, Adamant Mega Horn, so that's kind of rough. So I gotta play really aggressively around the Scolipede and not allow him to set up versus me. Rotom is a special defense variant, was mainly my counter to Mega Pidgeot, is Toxic, Painful Discharge, and Overheat. I think maybe Volt Switch over Overheat, I don't know, but it doesn't really matter. And last but not least, I got my Hydreigon, which is Scarf with Dark Pulse, Draco Meteor, U-Turn, and Focus Blast. Focus Blast, obviously, for the Porygon too. But yeah, as I said, this game doesn't matter too much in the long run. My opponent already clinched playoffs, and I don't think he can actually clinch his conference at all or win his conference at all. So he basically can't go anywhere in the standings. He will be a playoff team, but probably won't get a first round bye. So this game doesn't matter too much for either of us, but definitely it should be a solid test for playoffs because it's definitely two of the better teams in the league. I decided to lead off with my Mammoth Swine here as he leads with Cobalion. And I know this is Cobalion is gonna be his rock kind of figured this Cobalion will set up rocks this turn. If it's a max HP variant with not max special attack, I can live a close combat even and then like proceed to Earthquake him, so I don't have a reason to like don't have a reason to not click Earthquake. He hits everything on his team and like Ladias and Decidueye I can't really switch in. So I go for the Earthquake plays. He actually sets up rocks, and Earthquake actually doesn't kill. So shout out to non-life of Mammoth Swine. Mammoth Swine always has to be Element Life Orb, but this time it's not. So I don't get to kill in Cobalion, which means he's max HP. On this next turn, I go into my Finny because I know he will close combat now probably, which I can chew. But he actually gets a crit, which is kind of unfortunate because it puts me at like at a very low amount, and an Iron Head or Volt, which will put me at a very low amount because of that crit. Otherwise, I would have been like at right now I'm at like 64 after leftovers. I would have been at like 75 or so, which is much better than like the 30-ish% I will be at next. But on this turn I actually wanted to defog, but I actually misclicked Moonblast, which is unfortunate, but it definitely would have worked had he stayed in and attacked me. But he actually goes for the Voltage. So you see I'm at 37% now. Don't get the defog off that I wanted to get off, but I get some chip on the Porygon 2, which shows me that he's not specially defensive or has close to no investment in defense at all. So that's kind of cool. I will go for my defog now. No reason to like um, save this Fini. Yes, had I been healthier after the and not got crit, I like probably would have saved it and tried to like set up um, set up a calm mind or two later in the game, potentially versus Porygon even, or versus Ladi in a calm mind, or if it is calm mind Ladi. But this allows me to go into my Mamoswine. I know I can take this thing out with 2 Earthquakes, which is solid. You can't really touch me because I'm AV. I go for a knockoff first because no, I know that I can take him out with knockoff into Earthquake. So I'm going to go for the knockoff here. Now will fire off an Earthquake. It is a roll to knock out the Porygon depending on the set, but it is a roll that I think is like slightly in his favor, but a roll that I want to take because Tri-Attack doesn't even do shit to me. So Manaphy comes in and I go for the Earthquake. Is a 3-hit KO, but this shows me that this is a physically defensive Manaphy, which means I can live a Scald. I go for another Earthquake, and yeah, kind of like pretty like aggressively around this because I want to weaken stuff in order to sweep with my Scarf, Hydreigon, or my bulk up Tornadoes. So this is basically what I want to do right now. I got rid of the Eviolite and Porygon, which is huge, and I got rid and I weakened the Manaphy, which also is pretty big. So this time I go into my Hydreigon. My opponent has to Scald here, can't go for rest or rain or anything, whatever he wants to do. So he scouts me, he doesn't get the burn, fortunately. I can now get a kill with Dark Pulse. My opponent doesn't have a switch in at all, and he decides to sack his Porygon, which is fine with me. On this next turn, as he doesn't go down, I contemplated like switching out into Venusaur or so, but I didn't want to take an Ice Beam or anything. I didn't know what he wanted to go for, so I decided to play it safe and just go for the Dark Pulse, even though this allows Scolipede to come in. And now looking at my team, this is Scolipede with Poison Jab, Rock Slide, and Mega Horn with Sword Stance. I get 6 out, or like 5 out, basically. So I have to play of him going for the SD and fire off the Dark Pulse. I don't have another play if this is Sword Stance, and even if it's like substitute Speed Pass into potentially Calm and Stored Power Ladias, I lose as well if I don't click Dark Pulse. So Dark Pulse is my only play here. My opponent maybe doesn't realize this, or he like goes for a nice mid game breaking, which also makes sense. And like now I have to sack my Rotom, but this is fine. I can actually live a Poison Jab with ease, or a Mega Horn, and he goes for the poison, doesn't knock me out, but gets the poison on me with the Poison Jab. This is huge. As you see, my opponent is a Life Orb Scolipede variant, and he would go down to the Life Orb on the next turn had he attacked me. So if this, let's like theory mode a little bit because this poison is huge with my with my Rotom. Had I not got poisoned by the poison jab, he would have been forced to attack me and knock himself out with my, as well as my Rotom. I had no reason to save the Rotom, so I would have just fired off a discharge, which had a chance to parry anything if he like wanted to switch out, or I could have like potentially toxic or so. But he can't baton pass out because passing speed plus another stat boost is forbidden in this league, which basically would have gotten me the win here. But if he like knocks out my Rotom, goes down to the life orb damage on the next turn. Hydreigon comes in and claims a kill and potentially even sweeps. It Okos Cobalion from Ranged Dead, it Okos Manaphy, it Okos Ladias with the Draco, and this Decidueye here can't touch it. So I have a very free Dark Pulse if one of these three here come in, Manaphy, Cobalion, or Decidueye. I have a Draco if a free Draco if Ladias comes in. There's no way this is Scarf Ladias or anything. This is guaranteed Karma, and he loves his Karma Ladias. I knew this was probably coming, or like just roost 3 attacks or so, but definitely not a Scarf Ladias. That wasn't a thing versus me. So even if he goes Ladias after when I send out my Hydreigon, which I don't think was his play was probably to go Cobalion and try to set up rocks on a potential Venusaur or Mamoswine coming in after this, and like if he goes Ladi, I just go for Draco on his Cobalion sack or Manaphy sack, which means my like my Venusaur has an easier time like doing damage. It means that um, like I have a free switch into my Torn on a potentially incoming Latias. And even if I like lock myself into Dark Pulse, I can potentially sweep here if I get the hit off on Latias. Not knowing his set, I probably would have switched out had he gone into this, but I would have probably gone into my Tornadus there, force him to to KO me, and then like knock him out with a Draco Meteor from Hydreigon, or hit him with a big Ice Shot from Mamoswine, which also would have like knocked him out. So if this is a double down here instead of him going for protecting the poison, I'm pretty sure I'm guaranteed to win this game. But as you see, he has to protect and forces me basically to go into Mamoswine and knock this thing out with the Ice Shot, because otherwise he would have just won the game from there. So really bad for me, as he is actually protect SD. Um, and Mamoswine being in is absolutely trash for me, because it's the only way my team can revenge kill the Scolipede, and it gives him basically free rocks with his with Scobellion, or like gives him a kill with Manaphy, which forces in Venusaur, which on the other hand is potentially a free Calm Mind for Ladia. So having Mamoswine, it puts me in a really dumb spot. I like would have much preferred to double down. Like it's a super crucial poison he got there. And it's not too bad. Doesn't really matter because, as I said, we both clinched our spot in playoffs, but it's definitely unfortunate because this might change the outcome from a big 4 or a 3-0 win for me to a loss or to a closer game. So that's rough. Like revenge killed Scolipede with the Ice Shot, and now Corbellion comes in, gets 3 rocks. I go into my Tornadus because I don't want him to like um, I don't want him to get up rocks before I switch in, and Mamoswine still can survive some one rock switch in, and like as I said, this is also like kind of huge because like had Scolipede gone down, Hydreigon would have claimed the kill and prevented rocks guaranteed. Like there was no way he was getting Robs up um, otherwise, like besides like this exact scenario where I got the poison on Rotom. So this makes my Mamoswine less useful, because Mamoswine actually would have done a fat chunk to potential Ladias later in the game. So that's rough. But now my Taunt comes in and I just go for the bulk up here, putting him to just bolt out. I could have revenged with the acrobatics, but I didn't feel like revealing my set, like revealing that I only have acro to really hit stuff. Um, just yet. And now Ladias comes in. If he's not max speed, I outspeed him and like can rest up, which means I get my Chesto Berry and get the acrobatics boost on the next turn. And like even if he is like Shattered Psyche, I live it from full because he actually reveals later to not have any special attack investments, max HP, max speed, Calm Mind, which is really rough. So if I outspeed and like he speed crapped, potentially like just Hydreigon, I can get some big damage off on the Ladias, or like just kill all of his other mons after getting my rest of Chesto back. So he outspeeds me because he actually runs max speed, which is unfortunate and knocks on my um, Tornadus. But this puts me in a decent spot. I can just like either go for Draco, I could go for Dark Pulse, or I could go for U-turn. I decided to go for U-turn because I think his best play is to sack Corbellion. I could have stayed in and just fire off a Dark Pulse, which actually could have put me in a position where I win the game already. But it's like it was way more likely that he just sacked the Corbellion and then tried to do something with Ladias with potentially like a Draco Meteor if he had a. I can live a Dragon Pulse from the range I was at, or could have before rocks. For rocks damage had I stayed in, but I didn't know at this point that this was a not Draco and non-special attack invested Ladia. So that's unfortunate, but I get a kill with the Ice Shot. Works with me. Definitely like nice to get rid of the Cobalion. Manatee comes in and I have to go for Earthquake here. I can't go for like there's no reason to go for Ice Shot because all my other attacks just kill the Manaphy. And like yeah, he had to basically play off a choke of mine, but there was no way on earth I wasn't going for Earthquake there. So Manaphy goes down, and now the Decidueye comes in. I could like what's called could save this as fodder potentially, but I feel like it's way more important to put this Decidueye um, in range of my Dark Pulse guaranteed if it's like a max HP variant. So I go for the Ice Shot. He reveals to be Yachi Berry, doesn't matter, it doesn't have the Sucker Punch, which is nice. And unless he's max HP, max special defense, Dark Pulse is a guaranteed kill from there. And I can go into my Hydreigon and fire off the Dark Pulse. This is nice, definitely. Crit doesn't matter at all. He wasn't like saying anything, so I'm pretty sure he wasn't max HP, max whatever. Now Latias comes in. I could go for Dark Pulse here, forcing him to like, or like banking on the choke, or like just getting a flinch, but there was no way I was doing that. I go into my Venusaur, you see Dragon Pulses, and my Venusaur is the one time I bring a calm Venusaur. As you see, Dragon Pulse is absolutely nothing, 28%, which means like a +2. This is probably gonna knock me out, or needs +2. And two reels come minus. I go for Sludge Bomb. I tried to get the poison there. Sadly, I don't get it. Would have been really, really huge. On this next turn, I switch out, predicting him to Calm Mind again. And I play some mind games here because I know I'm probably losing to this +2 plus Latias. But I'm playing some mind games. I tell him like, do you want me to go for the Draco crit or for the Dark Pulse flinch? But I actually decide to go for U-turn here, trying to sack my Venusaur. If he goes for the Dragon Pulse, yes, I U-turn out into my Venusaur. I have this game won because Draco Meteor, after this U-turn damage, you see it's at 50%. Draco Meteor does up to 53%, I think, at +2, or does at least 51%, something like that. I either needed a roll or I was guaranteed to knock him out. I don't remember the card, but I can look it up right now, but I don't want to. I can do after the game, but it's either I need a roll if he knocks me out, or I need a crit, or it just guarantees knocks him out. I'm not 100% sure. I like just ran the card, but when we played, but I don't remember. So if he knocks out my Venusaur here, this U-turn looks like a Dawn player. Venusaur at +2, like the Dragon Pulse earlier did 28%, so max roll Dragon Pulse at +2 does obviously 56%, and he gets an absolute min roll and only gets 42%. So this is like absolutely huge. My Venusaur doesn't go down, and this is basically game. Now my Hydreigon has to crit or flinch here. I go for the Dark Pulse because Dark Pulse actually, if I get two mid to high rolls and one flinch, I knock him out, and I need the crit or the flinch anyway. So I figured Dark Pulse gives me the best chance to win. I go for the Dark Pulse, don't get the deserved hex, and my opponent knocks me out with the Dragon Pulse. So this is gonna be GG. It isn't Aki, but this is fine. Kind of unfortunate that it came basically a poison jab, poison on Rotom had such a huge such a huge influence on the game, and like really changed the outcome. But nothing you can do there. Also, like the roll with the Venusaur, it's kind of unfortunate. Obviously, I don't get the lucky hacks in my favorite late game, but it's fine. We dropped to 9-2, but definitely a very fun game. We both brought some fun squads. I feel like, and definitely was enjoyable game to play. It really came down to the wire. It's like I think on my second game this season that like wasn't decided by more than like 2 or 3 differential points, which is pretty interesting. But yeah, this is the game. Definitely go check out T-Train. He's like ever improving player. He like when we first played, like that was like over 2 years ago. When we were in the league, it was my second league or so. Our first match 2 years ago, I 6-0 to him. Now he gets the revenge with the Carmine Ladi and gets to win. And he improves to like 7 wins at least, so that means he finishes the season guaranteed over .50, and I think he clinched his division with that, so he's definitely a number 2 and number 3 seed in the playoffs, which is nice. So congrats to him on a great season, and we have 2 games left with our boys Nikki, aka Reckless Bad, and Trevor, aka Sheer Force, or formerly known as Sheer Force. So those should be fun. Definitely make sure you check them out. And then we head into the playoffs as the number 1 seed in our conference, so that's super hype. Definitely want to go at least 10-3, so win one last game in the last 2 weeks of the season. But we'll see about that. Anyway, I'm like basically clinched the number 1 spot, and yeah, playoffs should be hype. So hope you guys enjoyed. Leave a like and a comment if you did, and definitely check out T-Train. And I see you in the next video. See ya.